In this lecture, we're going to talk about products and services. Now, we're all very familiar with what a product is. We're all very familiar what a service is. But I just want to go over a couple of things just so that we're all on the same page and that there's no confusion. Often, the term product is used as an umbrella term, if you will, for a product, a good, and a service. It's all kind of combined in the term product. And a product is basically a bundle of physical, service, and symbolic attributes designed to satisfy a customer's wants and needs. So we can look at it in this way, that a product can be broken down into two, in terms of a good, the physical aspect of a good, or a service, which is totally intangible. So if we separate it even further, and again, sometimes I will use both terms at the same time, is that products are items consumed for personal or business use, where services are activities that deliver benefits to consumers and or businesses. But a service is distinct from a product in four different ways. First, it's intangible. Here, a service cannot be perceived through the five senses. A service is also inseparable. In this case, a service and the service provider are one and the same. If you think about going to get a haircut, well, you can get a haircut, but it's very difficult to do it without the service provider doing the cutting itself. And there is also some variability between service providers. For example, many times, I'm sure you've gone to get a haircut that didn't turn out quite exactly like you wanted, where another time, using another service provider, it was exactly what you wanted. So there's variability between the deliverer of the service and the actual service itself. And services are also perishable. What that means is that a service cannot be stored for later use. For example, take an airline. Once the plane departs, an airplane has left the ground and it has empty seats on it, they can't go back and reclaim those seats by putting people into it. So again, the service is perishable, where products we can generally store for some given time. So using the overall term of product, a product basically falls on a continuum between a pure good and a pure service, anchoring each end of this continuum. In between, there are hybrids where both a service and a good are being provided. For example, if you look here, the example used here basically looks at the inclusion of a hair transplant as being a hybrid. You can also expand on this by using pizza. I mean, think about what a pure good is. In pizza, a pure good is buying the raw materials to make and bake your own pizza at home. Where there's more product in some service is basically a pizza preparation place such as Papa Murphy's or Pizza You Bake. Then there's pure hybrid. Here's where an establishment where you can make, bake, and eat the pizza at the storefront location. There's another element could be heavy service, and some product is like a pizzeria restaurant where you go and sit down at Pizza Hut, something like that. But a pure service could be watching a cooking show where the host explains how to make a pizza. So there are different levels that we have to take into consideration. And if we just look at services, service can be broken down into either equipment-based services or people-based services. For example, with an equipment-based service, you could look at something that's automated, like an ATM machine or an online brokerage, automatic car washes. These are totally equipment-based services. People-based, on the far end of the spectrum, if you will, is like management consultants, accountants, lawyers. Here you're relying on the pure person of the professional skills that they have. And there's all points in between. You have some that kind of flip back and forth. You need, for example, a taxi. Well, you're buying a service. There is equipment involved, but there's also an operator driving the taxi. Products, or physical goods, if you will, basically come with three different levels. You have the core benefit, which are the fundamental benefit that the customer is trying to buy. For example, the purchase of an automobile, the core benefit we're looking for is transportation. We also have an actual product, which is the combination of all the tangible and intangible attributes that deliver the core benefit. Automobiles, for example, have combinations of attributes such as horsepower and fuel economy, which determines its acceleration and cost of ownership. And the brand name is also part of this actual product. On the outer ring, we have the augmented product, which are the additional services or benefits that enhance a product's ownership. In an automobile, for example, this could be the extended warranty, financing, or other benefits that are included with the purchase of that automobile. If we step into the consumer product arena, if you will, there are different classifications of products that we purchase and that are out there. For example, we have convenience goods such as potato chips or gum, which are bought frequently with little or no advanced planning on the consumer's part. These are usually low-priced goods and are widely distributed. Shopping goods, on the other hand, are a bit more complex and are purchased less frequently than convenience products. Consumers spend a little bit more time comparing features between the brands, and the consumer is also willing to take greater effort to find shopping products and thus are distributed at fewer locations. Advertising and personal selling play a key role in the process. Here, for some examples, would be televisions, blue jeans, travel tickets, things like this. Specialty products, on the other hand, have very unique characteristics, such as highly prized brand names. Think about Rolex watches or Waterford Crystal, or other one-of-a-kind features. These products are purchased infrequently, and consumers expend a great deal of effort searching for more locations to where they can find it. Generally, they are sold in very limited locations. I mean, for example, in many towns or many areas, you may have only one jeweler that would sell a Rolex watch. And here, products are very high priced, and promotional activities are targeted towards specific audience or lifestyles due to the inefficiency of mass communication. These type of products, specialty products, generally go after high-income individuals. And then finally, we have unsought products, which are those products where buyers do not really want to think about or even purchase the product. There's very limited knowledge regarding brand names due to their purchase frequency. Here we'd have some examples such as getting people to donate blood or life insurance. We really don't want to buy life insurance. We really don't want a root canal. So they are what we call unsought products. We only want them when we need them. Convenience goods can also be broken down into three different types. We have impulse goods. These are just the products that we see on the shelf and we buy without thinking about them. Staple goods, which are things that we continuously buy, and then there's emergency goods. Now, emergency goods are very different from unsought goods. Emergency goods are only goods that we want when we have to have them completely. For example, you need a plumber. Well, we're looking for convenience. We're looking for who can get out there to fix the problem that I have with my plumbing. I want it done now. I'm probably not going to do a lot of shopping around if my house is starting to flood. This slide gives an overview of the basic types of consumer products and also gives you a comparison of 6 different elements such as product, price, place, promotion, brand loyalty, and purchase behavior of consumers. If you want to take a look, just pause the video and look it to your heart's content. It will be there for you. In outlining the classification of industrial products, we're going to, just because this is Idaho, we're going to look at farming equipment and farms. Equipment basically includes tractors, combines, things like these. These types of products are primarily sold through personal selling and are often customized based on the buyer's needs. MRO, or maintenance, repair, and operation products, are purchased frequently, and as such, prices are kept affordable. Examples are fuel, oil, and other parts needed to maintain farm equipment. Products in this category are considered fungible, as there are numerous sources available and buyers easily substitute one brand for another. Raw material, on the other hand, such as seeds that farmers purchase to plant, in this case, in an industrial setting, raw material could be lumber, steel, or other materials used in the production of products. Low price and superior customer service are key strategies for making raw materials and marketing these products to buyers. Processed materials and services are products that are usually used directly to manufacture other products. In the farm example, we would think about fertilizer. And delivery of the materials or services is deemed critical oftentimes in a manufacturing situation, because if a missed delivery can hamper the buyer's ability to carry out its primary activities. So imagine that you were ordering fertilizer and you needed to fertilize your fields, and all of a sudden the company didn't ship it to you. Well, it could stop everything else that you're trying to do. So here, service is a very big part, an important part of marketing these types of products. Components, though, are finished products that are used to fabricate other products. For a greenhouse operator, for example, the plastic trays in which bedding plants grow are component products. Component parts are easily identified after becoming part of the final product. So this is just how we break down industrial products. If you think about any brand that you know of or the company that makes it, they have what is called a product portfolio, which is a collection of all the products and services that are offered by that company. Let's take a look at Sony's product portfolio. Here, Sony sells computers, cameras, televisions, portable electronics. They have Sony Pictures, they have games, and inside each one of these they have different products that fill within that line. So this is all of Sony's US product portfolio. And organizations have to be able to manage their product portfolio so that they're going to be better off overall for the company. So when we look at the overall portfolio of a company, let's look at a specific product. And a specific product has what we call a product life cycle. And the product life cycle is basically a model that describes the evolution of a product sales and profits throughout its lifetime. Here we're going to look at it from Sony's perspective. You have different products that fall within different elements of the product life cycle. And again, we have, for example, just starting out, we have smartphones that are in the introduction stage. Then we have the growth, television, maturity, maybe with VCRs or DVD players. And then in the decline stage, or in reality, the death stage now, are like VHS. Well, if you notice that at the beginning stages, you have very little growth. There's very few competitors, and we're going to talk about each one of these here shortly. But then you have the growth phase, where a lot of people are coming in and buying it. You have maturity, where the market already is saturated with the product, and then decline is where it's falling off. So let's look at each one of these. In the introductory stage, sales volume for the entire category is very low. Models introduced during the stage have very limited features and often perform worse than existing or substitute products. Think about electric or hybrid cars. Electric cars have limited range as compared to gasoline-powered cars. There's also the aspect of if I need to go on a long trip that is outside the range, I have to stop, charge my car, which is going to be longer than filling it up with gas. So it's a little bit less effective in that regard. Fewer retailers or distributors carry a product at the introduction stage, and the goal for the marketer is to generate awareness of the product category first, and then build awareness of their particular brand. In many cases, multiple companies competing in the category will work together to build awareness. For example, when the DVD player hit the market, there was like 7 different brands out there at the time that kind of hit the market at the same time. They worked together, and because they knew that they needed each other and they needed a lot of help from other elements. For example, if you're trying to sell DVD players to a market that's never had a DVD, you need the studios to be able to create the DVDs. If you can't get the studios to do it, what reason would anybody have to buying a DVD player? So the only reason, or the only way that a studio would create a DVD for their movies is if enough people have DVD players to want to buy the movie. So the 7 manufacturers worked together, and they went to the studios and said, hey, if you will produce all of these movies, we're going to buy them from you. And they gave consumers, if you go out and buy one of their DVD players, they're going to give you 7 movies for free from a list of 20 or 30. So Sony and GE and all these other manufacturers went to the movie studios and said, we want to buy X number of DVDs of these 30 movies. And then they offered them to consumers. Consumers started adopting them, and all of a sudden they took off. In the second stage of the product life cycle, the growth stage, managers are seeking to retain existing buyers as additional competitors are entering the market. Changes are made to specific products, and they seek to enhance this brand image of their specific product. While profits are beginning to become tangible, competitive pricing is also becoming a factor due to the competitive pressures. And this pressure is coming not only from existing brands, which have not gained sufficient market share, if you will, but also from new brands coming into the marketplace. So here we have growing sales volume, the product features are increasing, retail outlets are also increasing, and the marketing goal is to create preference for our specific brand. In the maturity stage, managers are trying to maximize their sales by finding new buyers. Maybe people haven't bought the product before or coming into the marketplace, so they're trying to find this. This is done through making improvements to the product and finding different ways to increase a product's usage. In the maturity stage, sales volume kind of starts to flatten out a little bit. And the product features, we're trying to add new things that are going to entice new buyers. We've hit the maximum number of retail outlets. And the marketing goal here, again, is preference for my specific product. The final stage of the product life cycle is called the decline stage. Here, sales volume is decreasing. Product features are starting to be reduced. We're trying to maybe make it less expensive by taking different features out of our product. The profits have almost disappeared, and companies are reducing any type of expense that they can for the product. They may be going through and cutting all the advertising or promotional dollars because, again, they see the writing on the wall that the market is dying. Here, products are being stripped down to their basic elements by eliminating all types of whistles and bells. But managers do have some options during this stage. They can do what's called harvesting profits by cutting all marketing expenses. They can modify the product in hopes of restarting growth. Here you can think about Arm & Hammer baking soda. Arm & Hammer at one time it was just used for baking, and it went into the decline stage because fewer people were baking. Then all of a sudden they found new ways of using the product. Hey, put one in the refrigerator, or even better, pour it down the drain. That's a great way to make money. Get somebody to pour your product down the drain. Or managers can also take the drastic step of just dropping the product completely. This slide kind of gives you an overview of the product life cycle and the marketing mix and things that we're trying to do in each one of the phases. So again, if you want to take a closer look at this, go ahead and pause your video, and then you can come back and start it when you're finished. Another model that is often used as marketing is the diffusion of innovation model. This model basically outlines how an innovation moves from inception all the way through to the entire population, if you will. And in this model, you'll see that the 2.5% of or what we call innovators, which is the first group of people that are willing to try a new invention. They're very open-minded, adventurous, and they are often younger, better educated, and more financially secure. They try new things because they just like new things. The second group are what we call the early adopters. Now, the early adopters, they look at new products very differently than innovators. They consider the social aspect, such as prestige, of being the first to own a product. They are very heavy users of media, and they're more Main Street groups than the early or late majority, and they rely on early adopters for cues for the next big thing. The early majority, they really are about 34% of the population, and they don't really wish to be the first one to try new technologies, nor do they want to be the last to adopt them. If early adopters accept a new innovation, then the early majority will begin to purchase. And once the early majority has adopted an innovation, then these products no longer are new or are cutting edge, but they have basically gone mainstream. The late majority, also about 34% of the population, are older and more conservative than other groups, and as such, they will not adopt a product that they consider risky. And adoption by the late majority will only occur if the product is now considered a necessity or if social pressures are too great. And then finally, about 16% of the population are what we call laggards. They are great followers of tradition and are always the last to adopt any innovation. And by the time this group has adopted an innovation, the product is often made obsolete by the next innovation. I mean, think about cell phones, or think about telephone answering systems. Believe it or not, there are still some people out there that don't have a phone answering system, or they don't have a cell phone. They just are not going to be dragged into anything new and innovative. Managing products, though, is not about all the new products or the innovation or the fusions or anything like this. It's all about managing what you currently have. And managers have to take a lot of time and effort in this area. This is where actually the bulk of a marketer's efforts work on in their product lines. We have to think about, how do we analyze our product lines? What about the sales? What about the profitability of each product line? And when we conduct product line analysis, managers must examine each product in terms of how well it contributes to the company's overall sales and profitability. Products that are responsible for a large percentage of sales and profits must be carefully monitored and protected. Products that deliver just a small percentage may be candidates for being dropped unless there's strong growth potential in the future. And a product line manager must examine how well the line is positioned against competitors. One tool that a manager can employ is a product map, which shows competitors' items in relation to a firm's items. This also allows them to identify better market segments. So we have to go through and also look at two key decision areas, such as how long our product line is going to be, which is how many different products, and also the product mix. So if we think about, for example, the length of a product, we have to think about, oftentimes we can upstretch a market, putting a new product out there that has more bells and whistles, or even going down market by bringing in new people by lowering the price and reducing the number of items or features that a product has. Other things we have to look at is line filling. Imagine that you have a product line in, say, hair care, and you need shampoo, you need conditioner, you may need some other types of products. But if you only have shampoo and a customer wants to buy conditioner as well, and you don't have it, they may buy a competitor's conditioner and then think, well, I like that conditioner, so I'll go back and buy that brand's shampoo as well. So we have to make sure that all the products that a customer would want in that area, we're going to be able to carry to be able to take care of our customers. All right, so that's the general overview, if you will, of products. And it's amazing how much work requires, or managing products require of managers. We have to look at all the different elements of how profitable a product is. If I introduce a new product, is it going to cannibalize or take away sales from another one of my products? In the next lecture, we're going to talk about pricing products. Till then,